7 o'clock. We will call the March 3rd, 2025 Town Board meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the agenda. Patrick, any changes?
No additions or deletions from staff, Mr. Chair.
Board have anything?
I have none.
I have nothing.
Move to approve the agenda as noted.
Second.
Yeah, just
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, item 3 is approval of payment of bills. Sign off, Steve.
I signed off. Move to approve payment of the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries. Item 4 is the approval of a prior minute meeting of February 19th, 2025. Anybody have any changes?
On the bottom of page 4 of the past minutes, there's just a small typo in the very last line under item 5E. It just says underground boring, and I think it was just boring, B-O-R-I-N-G. Not a biggie.
I think it was a commentary on you, Steve.
I'm boring.
Anything else?
No.
All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, item 5 is a consent agenda item. Looks like we have about 7, 8 of them. Anybody want to pull them, or you feel comfortable passing them on?
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine. Move to approve consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second. Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All right. Item 6 is old business. We have none. And item 7 is public hearings. We have none. So we'll move to item 8. This is the infrastructure fund use policy and discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, I didn't want to make this change at the beginning because I was waiting for the phone call to come in. If it would be okay, can we swap 8B and 8A and handle cottages at White Bear Lake discussion first, as we do have Chad Vinnie from our meeting on Friday? He's on the line right now.
All right, that works.
Okay, so let's switch to that. Chad, we are going to start talking now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Patrick, you want to give us an overview then?
So this is a follow-up discussion to what we had at our executive work discussion this past Friday regarding some outstanding fines and fees with the cottages of White Bear, which are now the cottages of White Bear Lake. The board did have some open dialogue with the vendor of that business, and did arrive at a recommendation on how to handle it. The Chad Vinnie is the vendor and would like to have further discussion upon that decision. So if you guys want to, or if Chad, if you want to chime in as to what it is you'd like the board to consider this evening in an official capacity. We are not allowed to make official decisions at our executive board meeting. So here's the place to do that.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm at my kid's dance, so you might be hearing yelling and whistling is going on in the background. But
Okay.
so we purchased the property back in April of 2024, and we had a management company that we had worked with for several years at another property kind of at the helm. And we recently made a change to a new firm that started on February 1st. And the reason for the change was just due to a lot of issues that we were having with the prior management company. We recognized that they were not running the property in a way that was something we wanted to deal with long term. So when our new property management company came in, they reached out to the township just to talk about, just to see if there was any licenses or contact information forms or anything that needed to be filled out. And at that time, it was brought to our attention that the rental license that was at the property, while it was still valid, was technically out of compliance because the license is non-transferable. And so we should have, when we bought the property, transferred that license to our name. That was an oversight on our part, and frankly, I don't want to call it neglect, but a big misstep on the part of our property management company. And so when we were talking with Karen about trying to become compliant with both the business license and the rental license, it was brought to our attention that we were going to incur a roughly $47,000 penalty or a 5% per day penalty, which prompted us to want to come up and meet with the board and kind of talk this through, because that penalty at a 5% fee, that would really have a detriment to the property and our operating expenses if we were to have to incur that entire cost. We did go through and we read the ordinance kind of at great length. It did seem like the prior company that was supposed to, or that held the license, was required to notify the township of a sale and at the same time provide our contact information. It does not appear that that ever occurred. And also, we haven't really ever received anything official in writing about the actual penalty or being in violation of the ordinance. So we basically came up because we wanted to talk to the board about what options we had. We want to be good partners. We want to be good neighbors. And frankly, this was just something that unfortunately fell through the cracks. And I just further wanted to say that, in looking at this a little bit more, it does seem like the township has another ordinance in place, which is ordinance number 26, which seems to put a cap on the amount of penalties that could be charged. And so this was something that I just wanted to see if we were open to discussing, just to make sure that we are fully understanding the implications of this penalty. And now I know the board had said that you guys would be willing to discuss options, and and the number that we had discussed at the time was 10,000. And that number, while I do appreciate the board's willingness to hear us out and willing to offer a lower number, still would be a pretty big hit to the property budget. So I wanted to kind of, I guess, see if there was any room for further discussion about the dollar amount, to see if this ordinance number 26 applies at all to our situation, and then to discuss maybe what kind of final ruling the board in the town has come to, so that we can get in compliance as soon as we can and go on to be good neighbors here for the next 10 plus years, hopefully.
Chad, are you familiar with this ordinance 26?
Not offhand, no, I'm not.
I'm going to look it up if you guys want to keep talking here.
All right, Steve, questions or comments?
Well, as we said it when we visited with you, the real issues in this fine situation really is with the management company that you indeed hired, or the prior owners. It is not a township issue. The ordinance, in my mind, was clear, but I don't know what ordinance 26 says. So while he's looking that up, we want to be good neighbors also, but yet you were late, and not our fault. So
I agree with
Yeah,
Steve.
we brought this, as soon as we got done with our meeting, we went and talked to the CEO of our prior management company just to try to understand. They are saying that they don't have any record of any correspondence with the township. They do not say that they have any record of any written letters or anything about this. And their stance was that they saw the license, they saw that it was valid through 2026, and even though it was in the name of the old company, it did not seem to trigger to them the need to apply and get us a new license, because it was still a valid license. Now, I completely understand the non-transferability of this, which makes that point, I guess, I don't want to say irrelevant, but that's what they had said to us is, we were aware of this rental license. It appeared that it was still valid. We did not receive any information about it not being valid. We did not receive any information about penalties or fines. And, frankly, it was an oversight on our part for not digging in either. So I understand, guys, and I'm just sharing that with you because after our meeting, we went and met with them to try to understand how this could have happened and what steps they took to try to cure this issue.
On that issue, you talked about it being a hit to your operating budget, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you know, you talked about the people that live in these units. This is really no fault of theirs. It is really from management company to ownership issues, not us or residents, in my opinion. But I guess the question is ordinance 26?
I just read it, and it doesn't apply because ordinance 26 deals with criminal fines. It sets out what are petty misdemeanors, gross misdemeanors, and this is not a criminal action. This is a civil fine. So no, it has no application.
That was the one thing I could find to talk about maximum penalties. It's just, you know, it seems like in our business with like late fees that we can charge our tenants, we're capped by state statute at like an 8% per month limit. And so the 5% every day, that number, I mean, adds up to be kind of just a detrimental penalty. I don't disagree with you that that's what it says. A delinquency penalty of 5% of license fees for each day is in there. I mean, it says that in there, but I don't know if that's the intent of what the ordinance is trying to solve. When I read through this, it's you all want to know that we're taking good care of the property, that we're running it in a sound manner, that we're running it in a safe manner. You know, not that because we forgot to submit this that, you know, we would have to potentially pay, you know, almost $50,000.
Yeah, the original fine max was about 56, I thought. But anyway,
Well, it said 51,240, but that included, I think, to his understanding, the license
Yep.
biannual license renewal.
We have never received like an official letter or an official notice from the township. This kind of came about because our new management company was talking to Karen because we had received a letter in the mail in February about the business license. So they had called to inquire about the business license, and then there was some email correspondence, but we've never actually received any sort of a violation notice stating an additional, like a dollar amount or how to cure it. So this was something that was brought to our attention probably 2-3 weeks ago. And, you know, we're trying to cure it as fast as we were aware of it.
Well, the board here has full confidence in our staff. And I know Karen has been doing a stellar job on keeping up on this. And I believe she said at our exec meeting that she was in contact with someone and forwarding all the necessary paperwork for fees and permits. So I don't want to get into a he said, she said, but I have total faith in the way our procedures ran.
and the other thing that might have accounted for the gap too is that we do these every 2 years for the licenses. But from what I understand with the discussion on Friday with staff present was that she had been in
Yes.
communication.
She also indicated that mail didn't come back to her either, so
Yeah,
she had no reason to think that
There's two items here. So the one that she had been in contact about was the business license. So that was and that's what, you know, she has shared with me on the phone as well. And she's been great to work with too. So I by no means have any issues or concerns. She's been fantastic to deal with. But the business license, which is the $100 fee, is what she had been, that is the notice she had sent to the property address, and that is what she has had conversation about. It was in discussions about the business license that it also became apparent to her that the rental license did not transfer when we purchased it. So even though the rental license might be still showing in your system as valid, I think this business license issue is what prompted her to say, okay, if there's been a change of ownership, then we need to go back and update the rental license. So I only bring that up because it is two different issues that have been kind of discussed interchangeably on Friday.
Mr. Chair, if I may make a point, as Chad has just pointed out earlier, it is the obligation of the seller to notify the township. It's not the township's obligation to determine if property's been sold or not. So really, there's no, this township has not violated any duty or hasn't fallen down on the job at all, to say the least. It's the job of the seller. And unfortunately, I appreciate what you're saying, but it is not the township's job to keep track of this. It's your job, it's the job of the seller, the job of the private parties to inform the township what's going on.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, in 11-7, license non-transferable is very clear that says every person holding an operating license shall give notice in writing to the code enforcement officer within 72 hours of having legally transferred or disposed of the control of the licensed dwelling. Such notice shall include the name, address, and person succeeding the ownership or control of the rental dwelling. So if the seller had followed and obligated that, then you guys would have known right away who we were and how to contact us. And I get some of this is on us too. I'm not trying to say that this is everyone else's fault, but we had reached out to the seller and said, can you provide us notice or anything that you have submitted to the township in relation to this ordinance? And we never got anything back from them, because I think had that step happened, that would have avoided a lot of extra work on your team's part and a lot of excessive penalties on our team's part by the unawareness of this issue.
Well, I know, the board, obviously, we discussed this at length at our exec meeting. And I think we have the full right to expect that full 51,000 if we so wish. I think we were trying to be at least flexible in bringing that number down to a $10,000 fine plus your fees. And I don't see us moving on that. I think that's more than a fair settlement. And I don't see any reason to beat this thing up anymore.
And in addition to that, you do have a recourse against the parties that you felt wronged you. So it's not like you don't have someone to go after that actually may have started this whole process wrongly. But that's not us. And I agree. I think our compromise is fair. And so, unless there's something else, Mr. Chair, I think the $10,000 fine plus the biannual rental license fee is appropriate.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
A second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thanks, sir.
Are you guys able to share with me like what happens next? Would you like us to contact Karen about this on tomorrow, or will we be receiving an official letter or anything? We have submitted the application to her, but she had said to not pay or move forward with it until the board had completed their ruling.
The administrator's thinking right now on the best way to deal with that.
I think, Jack, go ahead.
Well, we will contact you, and the best thing to do is you contact Karen, and in the meantime, Karen will also send you a letter out with the decision. So,
And we'll discuss that at our staff meeting tomorrow.
right, so it'll be taken care of.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We got to move on.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go back to item 8A. That's the infrastructure fund use policy discussion.
Yes, also a continuation from our work session on Friday, Mr. Chair. I'll give you the opportunity to make some appreciative statements on behalf of the township behind this, but as you know, the township was awarded $7 million to go directly towards infrastructure projects, mostly specific to our streets management program that we're in the middle of right now. The board did discuss how we would like to go about managing those funds over the extent of the balance of this 10-year program and from when we start the next one shortly thereafter. And staff did create with some proposed language for the board to adopt, and I think we're here tonight to bless that and give our residents an idea of where this money is going to help us all and alleviate some burden on our tax side.
Well, first of all, I'd like to give a public thanks to Senator Heather Gustafson and Scott Dibble and retired Representative Frank Hornstein. These are elected representatives that lobbied for us to get this money. The township does not receive any state aid, no gas money, no nothing. So we're always playing catch up with our surrounding communities. And this is a big deal for us because this will run probably at least 20 to 25 years to help road improvements, which means we're not bonding for as much money as we normally would to fix a road because these funds are going to be transferred into that bond application. And all that means is we're going to be able to bring the levy down a little bit more every year for our residents.
Yes.
Steve?
Yeah, I was going to add that, unlike cities, townships are treated a little differently as it comes to that funding. And, reaching out to the legislature to get this was really a big move to have someone that was actually interested in helping the township cause. There is money available in the rural township environment and in the different than us, but we're in the Twin City ring and it's not to the same effect or meaning. So they understood that, they helped us, and it's going to help our long-term future.
Beth?
I have to say I was really happy about it when it happened. So I too have to say I'm grateful.
Well, basically what we're going to be doing is going to take the interest from the 7 million plus a portion of the balance of that 7 million and apply that to these road projects. And just running it out, I know it's going to run at least 20 years. So this 20 years of road improvements is going to be funded by the 7 million. Unfortunately, that's the only thing we can use it for, just roads. So we can't put it in the general fund. We can't, fix parks. It's strictly roads. But this is a big deal for the township. We've been lobbying for as long as I can remember for this. So it's going to help every resident.
And Mr. Chair, just to clarify, you're talking about taking an equivalent of 1/2 of the interest earned annually from the principal account.
Correct.
Yep.
At least as the policy stands as presented now.
Right, and this is obviously up for renegotiation. I mean, if the board feels maybe we didn't do road projects for 2 years, we could spend more the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Or maybe a couple of projects were quite larger, and then we may have to revise it going down the road. But
So
this is a
Sarah-
good start for us because we felt too, we could almost work just off the interest, but I think we need to pay down on that principal.
This was also an attempt to give our finance department staff some direction on how to plan these budgets out. And Tom Kelly, who's our finance officer, is comfortable with this as it stands. And as Chad knows, I mean, this is a policy. It's not an ordinance. It's not a statute. It's not a law. With differing boards coming along, differing policy ideas might come along as well. But this one will be established at least for the immediate time being. And I think everybody agrees that it's a responsible use of some really excellent funds or timely funds for the township. And I just want to say one last thing in addition to thanking Senator Gustafson's office. And I know we've beat this dead horse for years now, but the township has a larger population than 90% of the cities and towns in the state. And we have not been given access to local government aid. So Senator Gustafson's office recognized that and how we didn't want to pass too much of the burden of our, mundane but very important projects that need to be completed to keep us a top tier suburb.
And because we fall into the Met Council's fingers, we get a lot of unfunded mandates, which means they drop balls on us that we have no way of funding. So this is just another ease on the pressure. So. Board have anything else?
Nope.
Chad, just is this just something we can move as a policy?
Yeah.
This infrastructure fund?
I think you could leave it as a policy.
Okay.
Pat's correct. It is a policy which any future board can change if you wish.
It's subject to any future board's
Right.
change because it's a policy.
Yes. And you're really don't need to adopt a resolution or a motion or, it's just a reflection of the public view of the town board as to what they should be doing with the money.
So I'll move to adopt the infrastructure fund use policy 25-01 as noted in the packet tonight.
A second?
Is that acceptable enough, Jan?
That's acceptable.
All right, motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Thanks, folks.
All right, that concludes our regular agenda. We don't have any agenda items. I have open time. So if anybody wants to speak, come up to the podium. Got anything you want to say? You just need to give your name and address for the minutes.
My name is Bob Leeper. I live at 2302 Fifth Court in the Township. And I have, according to ordinance, statutes, or maybe other regulations, I have what what has been described as a nuisance neighbor, and their address is 2286 Fifth Court. We share a property line, my north, their south. I've been here before discussing these people and trying to work with Mike Johnson at the same time to get some resolution. And I'm not getting any movement from him, assuming that he is code enforcement, and code enforcement takes care of such issues. I have multiple issues with this neighbor, but tonight I just want to address one significant one. And they have 7 vehicles and 1 boat on a trailer in their driveway, which is a 2-car driveway. They have 3 vehicles in that, and they have 4 vehicles in their side yard and a boat on the trailer in their backyard. 5 of these vehicles don't run. In fact, one has a car cover on it. The boat is unregistered, the trailer is unregistered, and the trailer is not roadworthy. The tires are shot on it. And I brought this up to Mike Johnson a long time ago. And again, I'm not getting any movement from him. Have you heard about this neighbor at all? Any of you?
Yeah, they were in speaking to Mike today.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I know the ordinance says a vehicle has to be currently licensed and drivable. Otherwise, it can't be stored, it has to be moved.
And that's what I printed out, the ordinance on that as well. So I I hope that Mike has been in touch with them, but they, trying to put it nicely, they don't move fast, and they're, if you ever seen Sanford and Son, they're a junkyard. I can't put it any nicer than that. It's a junkyard, and it's degrading the value of our neighborhood. I would like to try to sell my house sometime soon, but there's no way that I can. If somebody drives down the street and sees this, there's not a chance that they're going to want to buy my house.
Patrick, can you somewhat disclose why they came in?
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Okay. But are they working with Mike or
It
not?
sure sounds like it to me. It was, they were in there for quite some time today.
I got a feeling it's something against me.
I couldn't tell you.
All right, well, I know, but, you know, everybody tries to be Minnesota nice, and it comes to a point where you just can't be nice anymore. Obviously, you just heard a phone call that we always try to negotiate these things, and it gets to the point sometimes where even we've had to go to court, start taking legal action. And when it gets to the point that these properties get that way, that's our only alternative. And I don't know if they're trying to make amends now so Mike doesn't pursue that legal action. I mean, we just can't run in there with a tow truck and start hauling their cars out of there.
Right. And I think that I was here maybe 2 years ago with the same issue, and then also talking about replacing Fifth Court Road. And I know that someone on the board had said that, you know, this is something we'll look into. It doesn't happen overnight. It might take a couple years. It's been a couple years, and we, you know, nothing is moving. And I've been patient. I've been trying to look the other way, but I can't. When I drive in and out, it's right there. And I have all the emails going back and forth with Mike, and I also have probably 100 pictures, but I don't want to take everybody's time. Wondering if there is somebody that I could meet with maybe someday this week, bring a flash drive or print out a bunch of pictures to show that person what we're dealing with, so they have a little better understanding instead of me just trying to describe that there's a yard, and this yard is tiny. Put it this way, there's every square foot, there is a vehicle parked. because they have nowhere else to go. They have too many vehicles, and none of them, 2 of the 8 run. And they had just purchased a newer Ford crew cab pickup truck, and on the north end, Fifth Court comes to a T. I live on the south end of the T, and on the north end, there is an abandoned, vacated house. This white truck from 2286 was parking up next to that house. And maybe 2 weeks ago, I think the property manager put a no parking sign on the corner of the house where they were parked. And now they're respecting that sign, but now they back into the yard and going, so it's a grandma that owns the house, her son and grandson that are ripping the place up, and they're just running her over. She tried to build a nice little pond, bird bath area, and the grandson just drives in and out of the yard, just right over the top of her pond, disrespectful, and doing so is also dragging mud, out into the street. So there's all of these issues that I would love to, and I have pictures of everything, that if somebody could tell me who I could meet with after this, I would like to set an appointment up.
Well,
I don't think anybody meeting with anybody here beyond what Mike can do for you.
So
'Cause
Mike Johnson's still it.
yeah, and so
he has the legal authority
Yeah.
to inspect properties. We don't.
what I would suggest to the board and to you, Bob, is that I'll talk to Mike tomorrow. Just put together kind of a quick synopsis of what the discussion was today and share it with the board, and then I'm sure he'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
Yay, nay.
what other
No,
thing?
that's fine. I was just going to point out that one of the problems we have is this, is the minute we serve them with a criminal citation, it now becomes under the purview of the court, and that we have very little control over what judges do. We've already gone through that with other problem properties, and we know we know how the court treats those, and basically they stretch them out for a long time. So I can understand your frustration, but you need to understand, we've gone through this, we being the town, and it has not gone quickly.
It took us 10 years to get a house taken down. That's how long it got into the courts, and it went forever.
So I'm not legally anywhere.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
No, I'm asking. What I'm going to ask in basic language is, it's your rules and regulations, but you can't enforce it without going through a court that's out of your.
If we cite it criminally, which is what would happen,
Okay.
it has to go to the court system. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the problem.
And they give them the right to refute what we say, and that slows the process down. So it's correct, it takes a long time, but that doesn't mean it can't get fixed.
Okay.
I appreciate your frustration, and as Pat said, you'll talk to Mike about it, and by all means, just email your information to Mike. But if the board decides to bring criminal, have them cited criminally, just forewarning you, it could take a long time before that reaches any conclusion.
Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to discuss, and my ears kind of perked up, that y'all have $7 million for the roads. That's really good. So now you don't have an excuse to fix Fifth Court. So when I was here 2 years ago, we talked about it, and Fifth Court, I've been there for 32 years, and that road has been patched. And 2 years ago when I was here, the board said, yep, in 25, we're going to go in there, we're going to tear it all out, we're going to put in new road, but it's complicated back there, which I agree, it is. The drainage, it is complicated, but now that you have $7 million,
Well,
what's it looking like back there?
every road is graded as of how bad a condition is, from 5 to 0, 5 being the best. And all our road improvements go on the degradation of each road. So we try to, when it gets below 2, start to get at 1, that's when we go in and do them. Now, I don't know when that road is up for, if it's 25 or if it's been pushed back. And sometimes too, if it's just one road, we just don't do one road, we have to do a group of roads. So those roads get rolled into another development. So, and I'm not sure, that's something you can talk to our Public Works about.
Actually, Bob, what I can do when I talk to Mike tomorrow too, when I respond to you and or the board, I can find out when Fifth Court's on our 10-year schedule. I mean, we're halfway through it already.
Every road's on the schedule, it's
Yeah,
just a matter of
so-
when.
It's going to get covered.
Okay.
So,
And just, I guess I'm here to put everything on public record, as well. And then if the township takes some of this precious money and replaces the road, something would have to be done with the neighbors at 2286 because they're driving in and out of their yard onto the street, and the tires are eating away because our road is so old. It's just brittle, and it's just, there's big cutaways from when they come in and out. And if the road gets replaced all nice and shiny, I'm hoping that the township can put a restriction that they can't drive in and out of their yard and wreck the new road.
Well, that's part of another reason why we, in our ordinance, we specify curb and gutter on new roads, only so they're not breaking apart at the edge because there's a curb there. And that deters some people from driving over them too.
It won't.
in theory.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Bob.
it.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, anyone else? I see we got a couple students. Want to get up on camera?
Your
Now's your
chance.
time. Going once, going twice. All right, seeing none, I need a motion to receive agenda material and supplements.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 I need a motion to adjourn at 7:36.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.